Right now, as you're watching this video, your Android phone is doing something you never agreed to. It's listening, it's logging, and it's sending data about your life, your conversations, your exact location, your daily habits, to servers you'll never see, companies you've never heard of, and ad networks that know more about you than most of your closest friends. And the scariest part? You turned it all on yourself. Not on purpose, not knowingly. But the moment you pulled that phone out of the box, tapped through the setup screens, and hit agree without reading a single word, you handed over the keys to your most private world. And before you think this is just fear-mongering or another clickbait video, stay with me. Because everything I'm about to show you is real, it's documented, and it's happening on your phone right now. We're going to look at 3 specific Android settings. Not vague warnings, not theories. Actual settings buried inside your phone that are actively collecting your data at this very moment. And then I'm going to walk you through exactly how to turn each one off, step by step, so that by the time this video is done, your phone will be working for you and not against you. So lock in. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. Let's talk about something that happens to almost everyone. You're sitting with a friend, or maybe you're just thinking out loud and you mention something. A product, a place, a random thing you've been curious about. You never Googled it, you never typed it. But within hours, sometimes within minutes, an ad for that exact thing appears on your screen. You show your friend, you laugh it off. Phones are listening, you joke, but then it happens again and again. And you start to wonder, is that actually a joke anymore? Here's the truth. The answer is complicated, and I'm not going to lie to you. Major tech companies, including Google, officially deny that your phone is secretly recording your conversations at all times. And from a pure technical standpoint, constant full audio recording would drain your battery so fast, you'd notice immediately. So it's not that simple. But here's what is actually happening. And it's almost worse than random listening because it's completely legal and it's built right into your phone's settings by default. Your Android device is running background processes right now that track your microphone usage, log your precise location around the clock, and build a detailed advertising profile of your behavior across every app you've ever installed. And all of that data feeds into a system that can predict what you want before you even consciously know you want it. That's not science fiction. That is your phone, today in 2026. Now let's get into the first setting. And this one genuinely unsettled me when I first understood the full picture of what it does. Your microphone. You know it's there. You use it for calls, for voice searches, maybe for recording voice notes. But what you probably don't know is exactly how many apps on your phone right now have been silently granted permission to access that microphone, including when you're not actively using those apps. This is called background microphone access, and it is one of the most abused permissions in the entire Android ecosystem. Here's how it works. When you install an app, let's say a free game or a shopping app or a social media platform, it asks you for permissions. And most people, because the permission request pops up in the middle of doing something else, just tap allow and move on. What you've just done is give that app the ability to use your microphone. Now, some apps genuinely need that. A voice recorder app, obviously. A video calling app, absolutely. But a shopping app? A flashlight? A weather widget? There is no legitimate reason those apps need your microphone. And yet, millions of Android phones right now have dozens of apps sitting in the background with active microphone permissions that were granted years ago and never reviewed. And before you think your phone has to be actively doing something for this to matter, it doesn't. Apps can request microphone access in the background. They can activate it during processing windows your phone opens during routine background refreshes. You won't see a notification, you won't get a warning. The only thing that might tip you off is that tiny green dot in the upper right corner of your screen. A feature Google added in Android 12 that lights up when your microphone or camera is being accessed. Most people have seen that dot and never thought twice about it. Now you will. So here is exactly what you need to do right now. Go to your Settings app, scroll down and tap on Privacy. Then tap on Permission Manager. Inside Permission Manager, find Microphone and tap it. What you'll see next is going to surprise you. A complete list of every single app on your phone that has been granted microphone access. Go through that list carefully. For every app that does not have an obvious, legitimate need for your microphone, messaging apps, phone apps, voice assistants, tap on it and set the permission to either ask every time or don't allow. Don't hesitate on this. You can always re-grant permission later if something stops working, but the default should be denial, not trust. Now here's the second piece of the microphone issue that most videos don't tell you about. Even after you've locked down individual app permissions, Google itself may still be recording you, specifically through a feature called Voice and Audio Activity, which is part of your Google account settings. When this is turned on, and it is turned on by default, every single time you use Google Assistant, do a voice search, or talk to any Google service, that audio clip is saved to your Google account. not just processed and discarded, saved in a log that you can actually go listen to right now if you want to genuinely disturb yourself. To turn this off, you don't go into your phone's settings, you go into your Google account. Open the Google app, tap your profile picture, go to manage your Google account, then tap the data and privacy tab. Scroll down to history settings, you'll see web and app activity, tap it. That archive of your voice is gone. And one more thing on microphone, the Hey Google wake word. This is the feature that keeps your phone's microphone in a constant low-level listening state so that it can detect when you say those two words, even when your screen is off, even when the phone is sitting face down on your desk. There's a process running right now, at this very moment if you haven't disabled it, that is analyzing ambient sound through your microphone on a continuous loop. To turn it off, open the Google app, tap your profile icon, go to Settings, then Voice Match, and toggle off Hey Google. If you use a Pixel phone, also check Settings, Google, Search, Assistant and Voice, Google Assistant, Hey Google and Voice Match. Turn it off everywhere you find it. If you need to use Google Assistant, you can still open it manually. You don't need your phone listening around the clock to make that work. Now let's move to the second setting. And if the microphone situation bothered you, location tracking is going to bother you even more. Because this one paints a picture of your entire life. Every place you've ever been, every route you've ever driven, every store you've walked into, every friend's house you've visited, every doctor's office, every place of worship, every protest, every date. If your Android phone was in your pocket, there's a high probability that visit was logged. And I'm not talking about a vague record. I'm talking about a precise, time-stamped, GPS-accurate history of your physical movements tied directly to your Google account. This feature is called Location History, and it feeds into a product Google calls Timeline, a literal map of everywhere you've been, sometimes going back years. Google says this data helps them personalize recommendations and improve their services. And technically, yes, it does. It also creates an extraordinarily detailed profile of your behavior, your routines, your relationships, and your private life. And that data doesn't just sit in a vault. Apps with location permission can access your position. Data brokers can buy aggregated location data. Legal requests can obtain it. And any security breach on Google's end puts that entire timeline at risk. Here's what makes this even more insidious. Even if you turn off location sharing for every individual app on your phone, Google can still continue logging your location separately through the Google account layer. That's why you have to go shut it off in two places, the phone's location settings and your Google account itself. Start with the phone. Go to Settings, then Location. At the top, you can see whether location is on or off globally. Don't just turn it off entirely. You still need location for maps and navigation when you want to use them. Instead, scroll down and tap on App Permissions. Go through every app on that list. For each app, think about whether it genuinely needs your location. Maps? Yes, obviously. Ride sharing? Yes, when you're actively using it. But your banking app, your email client, your photo editor, a random game you downloaded 6 months ago and forgot about, all of those should be set to Don't Allow, or at the very minimum, only while using the app. Never allow all the time unless you have a specific reason. Then inside the location settings, also look for something called location services, or depending on your device, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scanning. This is a sneaky one. Even when you're not connected to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, your phone can scan for nearby networks and devices. And that scanning data is used to refine your location estimate. It's a backdoor location tracker that operates completely independently of GPS. Turn off both Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning. Your ability to actually connect to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is not affected. You're just stopping the background sniffing. Now go to your Google account. Same path as before. Data and privacy, history settings. Find location history and turn it off, then delete existing data. Choose all time. Confirm. 7 years of your life's geography gone. Also, while you're in location settings, look for an option around Share Location with Google. On some devices, this appears separately. Turn it off, and if you use Google Maps, open that app, tap your profile picture, go to your data in Maps, and make sure location history is turned off there as well. Google Maps has its own layer of location logging that is separate from the main Google account toggle, and many people who think they've turned off location history are actually still being tracked through Maps. Now let's get into the third setting. And this one is the one that most people have genuinely never heard of, which is exactly why it's the most dangerous. Your advertising ID. Every Android phone has something called a Google Advertising ID, or Guide. It's a unique alphanumeric code that was automatically assigned to your device and is transmitted to ad networks, apps, and data brokers every single time an app runs on your phone. Think of it as a license plate for your digital identity. It doesn't have your name on it. It doesn't technically identify you as a person, but it identifies your device. And because your device is almost always on your person, and because dozens of apps on your phone are sending data tagged with that ID simultaneously, data brokers can build a profile around that ID that is extraordinarily detailed. Here's what gets collected through your advertising ID without you ever knowing. Every app you open, how long you stay in it, what you tap on, what you scroll past, your shopping habits across multiple apps, your location at different times of day, your browsing patterns, what ads you've seen, which ones you clicked on, which ones you ignored, your approximate income level inferred from the neighborhood you spend most of your time in, your relationship status inferred from location patterns, your health conditions inferred from what apps you use and what you search for, your political leaning inferred from your news consumption. None of that requires anyone to hack your phone. None of that requires a single app to do anything illegal. It all happens through the completely legitimate, widely accepted, and utterly invisible system of advertising ID tracking. And by default, on every Android phone that came out of the box in the last decade, it's been enabled without any prominent notification. You just have to know to look for it. Here's how to deal with it. Go to Settings. Depending on your Android version, look for either Privacy or Google inside Settings. Find Ads. On Android 12 and above, you'll see an option called Delete Advertising ID. Tap it. Confirm. What this does is reset your advertising ID to a blank slate, and if you choose to opt out of personalization after resetting it, your device will generate a placeholder ID of all zeros instead of a real unique identifier, which essentially makes you invisible to the ad tracking infrastructure. If you're on an older version of Android, the option might say, opt out of ads personalization. Instead, enable that toggle. It's not quite as strong as deleting the ID entirely, but it signals to the ad ecosystem that your device should not be used for profiling. It won't stop you from seeing ads. Ads are part of how the internet works, and you're not going to escape them entirely. But it will stop those ads from being powered by a surveillance machine that has been quietly cataloging your behavior for years. Also, go to Settings, then Google, then All Services, then Ads, and review the ads privacy settings there as well. On some Samsung and other manufacturer devices, there's also a separate manufacturer advertising ID in addition to Google's. Look for Samsung privacy settings or your manufacturer's equivalent, and delete or reset that ID too. Both exist, both track you, both need to be addressed. Now here's something important I want to say before we go further, because I think it's worth being honest with you about the full picture. Turning off these settings will not make you completely invisible. It won't stop sophisticated surveillance. It won't prevent government-level monitoring if that were ever directed at you. What it does is remove the passive, commercial, mass-scale data collection that is happening to literally every Android user by default. The kind that feeds ad networks and data brokers, the kind that knows when you're home, when you're at work, what you're interested in, and what you're anxious about. That's what we're talking about, and that is absolutely worth stopping. There are also a few more things worth doing while you have your settings open, because they connect directly to everything we've just talked about. The first is the Privacy Dashboard. Go to Settings, then Security and Privacy, and look for Privacy Dashboard. This is a feature available on Android 12 and higher that shows you a 24-hour log of every time any app accessed your camera, microphone, or location. Open it right now and just look at it. What you'll probably find is a list of accesses you weren't aware of, apps checking your location at 3 a.m., microphone pings from apps you haven't opened in weeks. This dashboard is genuinely one of the most useful tools on your phone, and almost nobody uses it. Bookmark it in your mental map of settings. Check it weekly. The second thing to do is enable app permission auto reset. This is a setting that automatically revokes permissions from apps you haven't used in a while. Because here's what happens over time. You download an app, use it once, and forget about it. But that app still has whatever permissions you granted when you installed it. It's still sitting there with access to your microphone, your location, your contacts. Auto reset removes those permissions automatically after a few months of inactivity. To enable it, go to Settings, then Apps, then the specific app you want to check, and under Permissions, look for the Remove Permissions if app is unused toggle, or look for it as a global setting under Settings, Privacy, Permission Manager on newer Android versions. Third, and this is one for the more technically adventurous among you, there's a hidden feature in Android's developer options called Sensors Off. When you enable it, it cuts off all sensor access system-wide with a single tap. That means microphone, camera, accelerometer, gyroscope, everything. You can add it as a quick settings tile in your notification shade so that with one swipe and one tap, you can go completely dark. To enable developer options, go to Settings, About Phone, Software Information, and tap on Build Number 7 times. You'll get a message saying you're now a developer. Then go back to Settings, Developer Options, and look for Quick Settings, Developer Tiles, and enable the Sensors Off toggle. Add it to your Quick Settings panel. You now have a kill switch. Now let's talk about something that often gets missed in conversations like this: third-party apps and the data they're collecting outside of Google's ecosystem entirely. Because it's not just Google you need to think about. Every major social media app on your phone, and I mean every single one, is running background processes that collect behavioral data. Some of them are doing things that have faced serious regulatory scrutiny and, in several cases, legal action. The pattern is always the same. An app asks for permission that sounds reasonable in context, allow access to your contacts so you can find friends, or allow location access to show you local content. You agree. And then that permission quietly continues to be used for purposes that have nothing to do with finding friends or showing local content. They're used to build advertising profiles, to sell data to partners, and in some cases to track your physical behavior across multiple platforms simultaneously. The fix for this is the same as everything else. Go through your permission manager regularly. Not once, regularly. Set a reminder on your calendar for once a month. Open settings, privacy, permission manager. Go through camera, microphone, location, contacts, and body sensors one by one. Ask yourself, does this app actually need this permission to function in a way that benefits me? If the answer is no, revoke it. You can always regrant it later. The default should always be minimal access. Also look at which apps have all the time location access versus while using the app. Anything set to all the time that isn't a navigation, safety, or fitness tracking app you actively use for that purpose should be changed immediately. All the time location access is essentially a continuous GPS tracker running on your phone. There are very few legitimate consumer apps that require it. One more thing about social media specifically. Most major platforms have in-app browsers. When you click a link inside Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, it doesn't open Chrome or Safari. It opens a browser built into the app itself. That in-app browser can, in some documented cases, inject code into the web pages you visit that reports your behavior back to the app. What you read, what you tapped, how long you spent on a page, even on websites completely unrelated to the social platform. The fix is simple. When you click links inside social media apps, look for the option to open in your external browser instead. Most apps have a small Open in Browser or Open in Chrome option somewhere in the menu when a link is open. Use it, every time. At this point, you've done something most Android users never do. You've actually looked inside your phone and understood what it's doing. You've turned off the microphone surveillance that was running quietly in the background. You've dismantled the location tracking system that was mapping your entire life. You've deleted the advertising ID that was powering a commercial surveillance machine pointed directly at you. And you've armed yourself with the knowledge of where to look when things change. Because apps update, permissions reset, and new privacy concerns emerge all the time. Your phone is one of the most powerful tools ever invented. It gives you access to almost all of human knowledge. It connects you to people you love. It can protect you in an emergency. It is genuinely remarkable. But that same device, configured the way it came out of the box, was also quietly building a detailed permanent record of your life and selling access to that record to the highest bidder. Not because you asked for that, not because you agreed to it in any meaningful sense, but because the settings were on, you didn't know, and nobody told you. Now you know. So do this. Right now, before you close this video, before you get distracted by the next thing on your screen, go to Settings, go to Privacy, open Permission Manager, and just look at what's there. That's the first step. Everything else follows from that. 5 minutes. That's all it takes to start taking back control of the device that goes everywhere with you. If this opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to see it. Because the chances are very high that the people closest to you are walking around with these same settings turned on, completely unaware. And the more people who know, the harder it becomes for this kind of passive, invisible data collection to continue without accountability. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and stay private. I'll see you in the next one.